Ah, Orks. One of the most resourceful races in the 41st millennium. Breaking down and looting whatever they can in order to rebuild it into a more proper ORKY vehicle or set of armor or weapon or just fancy decoration. In this video, I'm going to be embracing the spirit of orkiness and going to be trying to make my very own BOOMDAKKA SNAZZWAGON by taking apart a bunch of toys and model kits that I found from clearance racks and dollar stores. Not unlike this little tank I've got here. But before we begin, I've been gone a little while. A long while. Like 8 or 9 months. I had a lot of stressful things that sort of all piled up from the end of last year to the beginning of this year. That ended up stretching me really thin. But over the last month, some of those things have begun to resolve, and I'm finding myself more able to create again. So, with that context, the footage that you're going to see was recorded about 8 or 9 months ago, but it was edited this month. So, past me may have different ideas in the brain than current, present voiceover me. But anyways, if you like what you see, remember to drop a like and comment your thoughts and favorite parts of the video. Let's get into it. Step 1, the unboxing. Open this up. Oh boy. Instructions. Won't be needing those. This feels like it's metal. Alright. So there's these bits. All sorts of crazy looking items here. And then we've got this guy. With the unboxing out of the way, it was time to start breaking things down. Knife. Maybe not. Those aren't screws. Yeah, these are way too big. There we go! Just had to pull. Nice. These can just come off as well. Right. Got the turret itself. There we go. There's our set of bits. So, with the little pile of pieces I had amassed, I started messing around, trying to see how things could fit together. Sure enough, a good bit of dry fitting and several injuries later, I found a shape that I liked. I found out the paint on the tank actually kind of flaked off really weirdly, and that made me uncomfortable, so I used this industrial grade toothbrush to start scraping off the paint. Of course, after moving my bird to another room for safety purposes. The next major problem to tackle was getting the Orks to fit properly. In particular, this driver here, he needed to hold the wheel. Not sure what I'm doing there, or explaining there. Apparently I'm not explaining anything, but I used Melobytes. That's important. Apparently I didn't, actually. Not for this part, at least. I just kind of cut a hole in the wheel and put the hand through it. And then dry fitted it with some sticky tack. Sticky tack. Best tool for dry fitting that there is. In a sudden burst of frustration, I decide to look at the directions of Melobytes and roll myself a little ball that I can squeeze into a pauldron. It's looking pretty good so far. Well, for the most part, it needs wheels. And even more importantly, the gunner doesn't stand up. So it's time to fix that. The power of more dry fitting with sticky tack. I managed to do some surgery on this little model here and, cut up some arms, put them in different spots. And voila, 3 beautiful boys. And a pretty sweet car to match. Oh, and some weird goblin heads from the spare Melobytes. Modeling done, it was time to go to painting. Starting with lost footage. Let's go. I lost the footage of me base coating with the airbrush the 3 orcs. So, on to brushwork, I guess. And oh man, the brushwork. Watching this footage now brings me immense pain. Those poor abused brushes. I am so sorry, my children, that I would ever do such a thing to you in my ignorance. Well, at least my painting habits have gotten much better now, thanks to various miniature channels such as Midwinter Minis, Squidmar, Miniac, Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, Dana Howell, Tabletop Time, Eons of Battle, and several other channels. Go check them out if you want to learn how to paint minis. They really helped me a lot. But back to the video. I painted up the orcs until I was happy with them, going with an Evil Sons clan / Mad Max kind of look. Lots of red and worn leather. Tried to make the crazy man's hair look a little fiery. And I think it turned out pretty alright. So with the orcs done, it was time to move on to the vehicle. I started with the Zenithal Prime, that is a full coat of black primer followed by a spray from above with white. You can see here that I didn't spray the gun. I did it this way because I did it this way. So with primer on, I started airbrushing. The primary color I went with is a rusty brown, something that I thought you could see driving across the wastelands of Gorka Morka, or through the endless dunes and salt flats found in Mad Max, or broken down on the side of the road off the highway. After the first coat dried, I started adding a fiery red to ensure that the Snazzwagon goes fast. Everybody knows red makes it go faster. This is undisputed fact. Red applied, I then went over the front bits with a crazy orangey yellow. For one, to make it look like it's got some real rust problems from driving around in the dunes, and for two, to ensure it shoots good. Everybody knows yellow makes it shoot good. So, now speedy and shooty, I had to leave it to dry before I went back in with a brush. In the meantime, I started working on some little kobolds. Look at those tiny little rascals. Paints dry once more, I continued by dry brushing with silver to make the metal look proper chipped and damaged, like it's been through a good few races and firefights. I mainly focused on running the brush from front to back to make it seem like coarse sands were kicked up and scraped across the surface of the car, taking the paint with it. Satisfied, I went to tackling the exposed metal parts of the vehicle, going with a blend of black and silver to get a dark metallic base coat, sort of like a gunmetal, or at least the closest I could get to it with a starter set of paints from Reaper. The wheels got coated with just black, then I went back and forth to the metal, dry brushing with a sort of greenish verdigris color. After that, all I had left to do was add a few more final touches of dry brush silver and darken the interior. And then it was a matter of putting the orcs into their designated spots and declaring victory. So, here I have the final product 8 months later after it was made. And it still holds up, I'd say. Sure, it's a little, rough around the edges, but it's mine. It's my first ever kit bash. And I'm really happy with how this turned out. Honestly, it's one of my favorite models that I have, and it is completely and distinctly unique. And yeah, the tank in the intro, that was a new one. I got another one. I got lucky. I got two. But yeah, so here's the model. Look at that. Look at that. Ain't that something? I think it's. I'm really proud of it. You might think it looks like garbage, of course. It is rough. It's very rough. I'll be the first to admit that it's very rough. But regardless, I'm still just so unbelievably happy with it, even 8 months later. And speaking of which, So, back to that thing I said in the beginning about stuff resolving. In addition to a bunch of personal matters, my camera actually kind of broke. So as you can see, I got a new camera, so you can expect higher quality video. I also got a new editing program, so you can again expect higher quality videos. And I got a new setup going. Let's see. Yeah, let me show you some stuff here. Got a horrible organized mess going on right now. We've got my paints all around here, a couple models that I'm working on over here. These are all just personal projects for the time being because I'm trying to practice to get better to be able to show you guys some cool stuff. Here we've got Emotech the Stormlord and cutting mats, you know, a few boxes and a few bits of inspiration on the wall behind, including but not limited to the Marios and a Toad and 20 Garfield stories on DVD. Still in original packaging, mint. Alright, hopefully my video isn't all completely weird from rotating the camera around. But thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next time. Toodles!